And we welcome Richard Clapton to Noise11.com. There's been a few false starts over the last 2 years, Richard. Music is Love was the album that sort of came at the start of COVID, and we're kind of getting the momentum of the live performances now. So I'm looking forward to seeing this.
What is it? What's that comedy routine? I got it. I got it. Oh, I ain't got it. The album goes number one. It's like, hey, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been basing the current set list around the Music Is Love album. So that's an interesting way to begin a Richard Clapton concert, where I guess for the first 20 minutes, half hour or so, you're coming out and paying homage to all the other artists that you were a big fan of.
Now, I was doing that on the concert tour, which we eventually managed to do. But they're very long shows. I mean, they run for about 3 hours. So what happens with those concert shows is I do about 45 minutes, then 20-minute intermission, then I come back and it's all my own songs after that. At the Palms, as people would realise, it's not going to be, the set won't be that long. And also, I've got to stress, this is just going to be a great band. And this is, I mean, I know this sounds like a big sell, but this band will be once and one time only. I mean, because these guys, I've just stolen all the best players from everyone else's bands, but I won't be able to do that again probably. So, but so I'd say we'll probably do about 5 or 6 hippie songs that I call hippie songs, and but as my agent keeps stressing, but there's still the hits, still play the hits.
All right, well, you mentioned the band there. Let's run through some of these band members. Tell us why they're so special. Who are we going to get to see?
Well, hopefully, yeah. Well, I'm talking to Melbourne anyway. So it's Dave Leslie, Simon Hosford, Chris Becker, Johnny Salerno, Paul Ciccolini, and Susie Goebel. So it's quite a big band. But I mean, Les has Baby Animals, and Hoss with Darryl Braithwaite, et cetera, et cetera. And Bex and Johnny with John Stevens. So it's just that my normal band, I mainly, the Danny Spencer sort of lineup is my primary band that I nearly always work with, but they're not available. They're going away with Jimmy, and but I'm just really, really blessed. I'm really looking forward to this gig. I think it's really going to go off. But as I said, hey folks, get your tickets now, because I don't know if I'll be able to do this one again.
It's interesting, isn't it, with Australian bands? It's almost like a wrecking crew of Australian musicians, isn't there? That, like if I go and see Jimmy, or if I go and see you, or if I go and see John Stevens, I'm seeing familiar faces behind you all.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for that. I mean, that these are really elite musicians, and I'm really proud to have played with. Well, when you think about it, I've pretty much played with elite musicians since day one. I mean, Red McKelvey was my first guitar player in Australia. Sadly, Red passed away last year, which is very sad. But that's the guy from Girls from the Avenue. And Red was really legendary in the early 70s. Red, he was the gun guitar player, and then it went on to Kirk LaRange and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I played with Dave. I played with all these guys a lot. Chris Becker and Johnny Salerno. I played with them early this century. That was sort of like a Melbourne band that I had, and we played around for years and years. But as I said, they've been busy with John, and just not available. So this is going to be a great opportunity.
I like how you referenced earlier this century, because you also performed earlier last century as well, didn't you?
I did. Then, unfortunately, Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia, Paul, and ruined my whole career.
I mentioned 100 years. We can go back 50 years, because do you realise that in 2023 it will be the 50th anniversary of Prussian Blue, your very first album coming up? Is there any plans to mark that occasion?
Absolutely. It's been in the works for a while. We're not sure. We just want it to be really special, but it will be like a Palais, state theatre kind of event. Now, and recently, I've been working with Darryl Braithwaite a lot recently, And there's a photo on my Facebook page of Daryl and I cracking up laughing. And the story behind that, it was my birthday. We were on this boat in the Whitsundays. And I said to Daryl, because I've been trying to get my catalogues back and going through my old contracts, I'd looked at my original Festival Records contract. It was signed on 6th of June, 1972. So Daryl and I on this boat having a good time. And I said, and Daryl, I know for a fact that Sherbet would have signed the festival. Well, in the Infinity, like, come on, Paul, the Infinity label.
Yeah, I remember the Infinity.
There's the walk encyclopedia. Anyway, I said to Daryl, so I know that Sherbet would have signed roughly about the same time. And I said, so Daryl, think of this, Daryl Braithwaite, Richard Clapton, 100-year anniversary tour. And we cracked up and somebody took the photo and I put it on Facebook. But sadly, it's coming down to that, Paul.
In the body of the set list, apart from, the half dozen or so Music is Love songs that we're going to be getting, you have a pretty wide coverage of that 50-year career. And what I love about the Richard Clapton catalogue is some of your best work, I thought, was happening in more recent years. Harlequin Nights, House of Orange, some great stuff on that, and people who come to the shows do get to hear some songs from those albums.
Yeah, look, it's with every passing year, it gets more and more difficult. I think because I'm doing all this work on my catalogue, I have been for the last year or so. Officially, I think I've recorded 262 songs. So 262 songs. Now, there's a story about this, though, because I've done the State Theatre every year for over 10 years. And one year, there was like a group of Dark Spaces cultists, and I'm in the song Dark Spaces, the whole Sylvia Plath thing. And they just, in that first set, they kept going, play Dark Spaces. Come on, man, play Dark Spaces. And then, as I said, there's a 20-minute intermission. I came back on, and when I came back on, I said, look, I've recorded 260 songs, and I got my calculator out during intermission, and I worked out it would take me 2.9 days to play every song I've ever recorded. And I said, so, and the audience is going, yeah, well, come on, let's go. What, for 3 days? Yeah, 3 days non-stop. Yeah. So look, it's very challenging. As all songwriters say, it's so cliche, but your songs become your children. But you just got to keep culling and culling. Otherwise, I'd never be doing Harlequin Nights or House of Orange. And once again, it's a cliche remark from a songwriter, but yes, I think that's my best work as well, the more recent stuff.
But there are songs, and I think you've put a number on it to me before, 9 Richard Clapton songs that are must-play songs at every show. Is that still the rule?
Pretty much, yeah. They were radio hits. So what I would define as a radio hit, like Get Back to the Shelter, got heaps of airplay, and I know all these facts because of for a start, I used to be part of the furniture at Triple M, so I used to see the playlists and everything, what was being played. So yes, of those 9 songs, I've actually had to drop some of those 9 songs, because otherwise it'd be impossible to fit it in. As it is, I play about 20 songs on stage, and each time I release an album, when I came back from Nashville, I had to squeeze about 6 new Nashville songs into the set. And then obviously, unfortunately, the 6 songs that I've been playing for a while, they have to go to make room for the new material. So, but I'm sure most artists nowadays, especially my generation, I mean, I'm not the only person that's been around for 50 years, Paul, but I'm sure most of my generation goes through the same dilemma, because look, Deepwater and Girls in the Avenue, Capricorn Dancer, there's no way I could do a gig and not play them. It's just not done, is it?
No, we're not saying Richard is old, folks, but his first tour, he was the opening act for Beethoven.
Yes. No. And, the only thing, I mean, I loathe the internet, But there are some things about the internet that are great because one's memory really does start to fade. And what was it? Just sometime this year, people started coming to my Facebook. I remember you, mate, and you were supporting Don McLean in the Domain. I go, was I? Gee. I go, yeah, you're right, you know. So yes, it's amazing all these things that I've done. I've supported Roxy Music and Fairport Convention, and you know, long list of so many overseas acts that I've worked with.
I was going back, you know, because of the Music Is Love album, looking at other songs that you had covered over the years. I thought The Law is an obvious one because they got quite a lot of radio play. I wasn't familiar with your version of Gangster's Paradise, which you did in 2000. And that actually was released in some form at some stage.
Good old Andrew Denton. That was when Denton had his Triple M show, and quite honestly, I think that was a Denton project. He had a number of artists all doing quite odd songs. Thanks, Paul. I'd forgotten about that one. All these things in my life that have totally, you know, slipped from my memory. Was that good? I don't think I've ever heard it. People have told me it's really good, and I don't remember it.
I am looking forward to your next album, Music Is Love, The Rap Years, 2000 to 2001.
Yeah. I'll be doing a whole lot of love before I do the rap years, pal.
Yeah. All right, now riddle me this, Batman. The song Girls on the Avenue. Who did it better? Richard Clapton, John Farnham, or Dennis Walter?
Or Paul McCartney's brother.
Mike McGee did it, did he?
Yeah.
Wow, must have checked that one out.
Yeah. And there was a Nashville artist did it. Look, that's a really unfair question, Paul. Look, I don't know. I mean, for me, one of the standout qualities of my original recording of Girls on the Avenue is actually Richard Batchen's production of it. Because that was Batchen's wanting to be Phil Spector. And, you know, there's 17 guitars on that record of Girls on the Avenue. It's just a wall of sound. And he had me at it for days and days till my fingers bled, you know, and he was such a taskmaster. Like every note, I had to totally tune up after every take. Anyway, look, it's just, then we get into an audiophiles rave, which, and I'm sure you're an audiophile, and I think you know what I'm saying. That, look, talking of once-offs, I mean, that record, Batchen's put so much heart and soul into it. He was trying to paint his masterpiece, and I think he did. So for me, it's not simply the song "Girls on the Avenue." I think it's the production and the recording of that song as well.
And the answer he failed to tell us there, folks, was C. Dennis Walter was his favourite version.
Did you like my body swerve, Paul? Thanks for wrecking it. I thought I did that really well. But, oh, no, Cashmere's got to come back and go, you didn't answer my question, Richard. Anyway, production of Girls on the Avenue, as with Deep Water. And then there's my years in Berlin.
Well, I look forward to seeing the supergroup at the Palms in Melbourne. That's going to be quite special if it's going to be a one-off.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really exciting.
All right, Richard, good to talk to you.
Thanks, Paul.